want to get your background on how you started getting into organizing and decluttering lifestyles and really just how you got started with everything like that.
Okay, well, it's an interesting story, really, because I wrote my first book it was called Simple Steps to Declutter Your Home, and I wrote that in 1999. So back then there weren't very many organizing books, and to be honest, I wasn't even an organizing expert when I wrote the book. Of course, after writing the book, I was an expert.
Right.
And lead to a career as a professional organizer. But that's exactly what happened. And then a few years ago, 10 years ago now, I also started writing about cleaning because it just seemed like a natural progression. Once you get decluttered, you want to clean up your home too. So, and sometimes when people think about cleaning their home, they're really talking about decluttering their home. So anyway, the two are very much, work hand in hand. And so at this point, I'm a certified house cleaning technician as well as a professional organizer.
Well, that's awesome. And ever since you were little, did you always like to keep things very organized, or was it just kind of you fell into it?
That's a really good question because we didn't have much growing up. And so I was by default a minimalist way back then. And I never did really accumulate an awful lot of anything over the years because it's just what I was most comfortable with was to have just enough. And now, of course, we're really minimalist because we're living in 350 square feet.
Right. Definitely.
So what's your current setup like? So I see, I'm seeing behind you, it seems like, you've got such a small area, but, it's working out well for you because it's fitting your lifestyle and it's, it gives interesting blog content. So what are you currently running on right now? Like setup-wise?
We have a 40-foot motorhome.
Okay.
And so there's a bedroom, a bathroom. In the bathroom, there's actually a washer and dryer. It's a combo washer dryer. And so it's in a closet, which I call the laundry room. It's just a closet. But, and then we have our living area, which is kitchen, dining room, living room combined, and a TV mounted overhead so that, we can relax and watch TV when we want to as well. And then the great outdoors is our backyard. And the backyard changes frequently. Right now, the backyard is the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. And so I wake up in the morning and there are balloons flying over and landing in the field in front of us. And so that's pretty interesting. And we also pull behind us a trailer. And in the trailer, we have a Can-Am Spider, which is a 3-wheel motorcycle. And that's our primary transportation.
Wow.
So I take that to get my groceries. And
so cool.
Yeah. And it works for us because we just follow the sun. If there's snow or ice, we're not there.
Right.
And if it's even a bit rainy, we start thinking about moving on because, we want to be outdoors. And also in the trailer, we have a kayak and we have bicycles and we do really enjoy our outdoor living.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
So when you started your Unclutter blog, did that come after your first book or was that before?
Oh, it was after. In fact, it was a few years after. At the time, I was still doing a lot of other types of writing. I was a freelance writer, and when I researched the first book, I came up with enough material to write a second book. It was 7 Simple Steps to Unclutter Your Life. And then my publisher came back to me and said, would you be interested in writing a really big book about organizing that would include some ideas from your first and second books and go beyond? And that was called Organizing Plain and Simple. And it was at that time in 2002 when that book came out that I realized that I had launched a new career and that this is what I wanted to be doing.
That's awesome.
So
That's very inspiring.
Yeah. So if you were to I know that you have your blog and then your husband has his separate blog. Is this something now you guys bond over, or did you kind of get him into the whole blogging scene?
Actually, what happened was he was retiring, and we were thinking about being snowbirds. We were in Michigan at the time because his work had taken us there for the last 4 years. And so we thought we might be snowbirds and spend our time in Arizona and California in the winter and then come back in the summer. And then he started reading about people who were living full time in their motorhomes, which I didn't know anything about this. But instantly I was attracted to that idea because it seemed to make so much more sense. So we wouldn't have to worry about leaving a home behind and wondering what's going on back there. Are the pipes freezing in the middle of winter? You still have to have your driveway plowed because otherwise it would be obvious no one lived there, So, and what do you do with your mail? It had to be stopped, and how do we get it? And so, anyway, we just looked at each other and said, that makes a lot more sense. Let's just sell the house. And so that's what we did. We sold the house and we sold everything in it. And just haven't looked back.
That's awesome. So where would you say is your favorite place of visiting so far?
That changes. This year, we're in New Mexico right now, and I love New Mexico. We spent some time up near Taos, and we also love Santa Fe and Albuquerque. There's plenty to do here, and the weather's really nice. It's nice to look at mountains, and but we also love California. We love to be on the coast. And this year, my new favorite state was Idaho, which really surprised me. We had been to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho before, and I thought that was really nice. But this year, we traveled from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to Boise, and that route was just spectacular. And on the way, we stopped in McCall, which is a resort town, and it was just beautiful. And there's so much to do there in nature, so we just really, really enjoyed that, and I'll look forward to going back someday.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
In regards to your blog, and I know you've been featured in like Better Homes and Garden and on HGTV and everything like that, what would be your favorite go-to for like home inspiration or organization? Like any TV shows in particular or magazines that you like?
I really don't watch a lot of TV. I never really have. So yeah, I'm more about reading. I curate articles every day. I look for articles about downsizing. I look for articles about decluttering, organizing, and the ones that I think are really good, I share with my followers on Twitter and Facebook. And I enjoy that and that's how I learn the most. And sometimes Pinterest, I'll get on Pinterest, but that can be inspiring.
Definitely. How is the transition, like you starting your blog in 2002, seeing the transition of social media taking over and, trying to stay cutting edge with that? How has that transition been?
That is very interesting because so much has changed since then. I started out with just a monthly newsletter, an e-newsletter, and everywhere I went, I mentioned my website, unclutter.com, and at one point I had 20,000 subscribers. I still have over 15,000 subscribers after cleaning the list a while back. But, I think now people don't subscribe so much as just, follow their favorite blogs on Blog Lovin' or RSS feed or whatever. But back then, that's what it was. It was just email subscriptions. And I realized I never finished the question about the blog, my husband's blog. So the way he learned about a lot of these people who are full-timing is through their blogs. Mm-hmm. And he just decided that he would also blog, mostly as a way of keeping in touch with our family and friends, and so that they knew where we were on the road. But we've also just found it to be a great communication tool with other bloggers who are also on the road, because there's a whole community of people who are doing what we do, and we see them often and we become friends. I just today ran into a couple here at the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta, and we'll be spending some time with them while we're here. So, and she blogs and Mike blogs, and so we know where we are, and we make plans to get together when we're close enough.
That's awesome. So yeah, we definitely here at Shareflo, we've been trying to build a community both online and offline. So that's cool how you guys have that as well. Just from living in a mobile home and traveling the world, or the United States, that's awesome.
Yeah, connecting with like-minded people, you know, that's just very inspiring for a lot of people wanting to get into blogging and, you know, building a community. You have a really inspiring story for those people.
Yeah.
And what's it like being a best-selling author? I mean, do you feel like you have to keep putting out books, or are you satisfied with the ones that you have? And because I feel like it might cause you to want more.
Well, for a while I was writing about a book a year. I have 14 published books now. And I was just contacted last week about writing another book, which I wasn't intending to do, but it was too hard to say no.
Yeah.
And I have people ask me all the time, how do you just keep writing about organizing? How can you write new books, you know? But there's always a slightly different slant, whether it's about, you know, I have one book that's about turning clutter into cash, and that's all it is. And another book that's just about storage solutions, from A to Z. Anything you'd like to store, you can look up in this little reference book and figure out ways to store it that work for you. So so this new book will come out next summer now.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Excellent.
So what are your top tips for organizing and decluttering your life that you like are your go-to?
Well, my favorite question now, I like to ask a lot of questions of myself, and then I encourage readers to do the same. And one is, you know, of course, with decluttering, it's a matter of figuring out what stays and what goes. And certainly for us, you know, when we had to decide what we would take with us, we had no intention to leave anything in storage in Michigan. So we had to decide, what is it that we actually will use and can't leave behind? And so we had a choice. We could either take this thing with us or not, because or we could go on this adventure, or we could have this stuff, you know, but we couldn't have both. We couldn't have all the stuff and have the adventure. So it's about getting your priorities straight. And one good question to ask yourself is, would I buy this today? Because a lot of times we have things that we purchased 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and it really doesn't have any use in our lives anymore, and we just keep hanging on to it. So if asking yourself, I mean, especially, would I pay cash for this today? That's even better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question, because sometimes you look at your things and you're like,
How did this get here?
So,
right? And what do I do with it? And that stops a lot of people too, because they don't really know what to do with it. And so obviously the other thing is, the easiest way to get things out of your home is to donate them, because you don't have to find the new owner. Right. You let someone else take care of that job. And if you can donate it, it gives new life to the things that aren't being used right now. And you know, you're helping out somebody else. It's just it's a win-win, you know. So I really like doing that. And then another question I ask is, you know, okay, so if you did need this again someday, could you get it again pretty inexpensively or easily?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, we hold on to things that really only cost maybe $20, or that you could find again in 20 minutes. Like, go next door and ask, hey, can I borrow your fondue pot?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a real craving for cheese fondue. And so you can just borrow from a friend or family member or neighbor, and just, you know. And so it makes it easier to let go when you realize that you will have some other options, or maybe you can buy it secondhand. So it's just easier when you know that.
Yeah, definitely. That's very true. As far as for entrepreneurs, or you know, not really startups, but young bloggers or new bloggers, what is your advice for them on getting started, or where they should start?
Wow, I wish I knew the answer to that question. Well, I think obviously my husband and I are both using WordPress, and it's very simple. It's very easy to get a website up and running. We use Bluehost as our server, and that's actually worked out really well, surprisingly. Sometimes it's down, sometimes the server will be down, but not for very long, and I have found Bluehost to be pretty good with providing support, and WordPress too. We had an issue recently, and both of them were very good about trying to help us figure out what went wrong, and that started working again. So somehow we figured it out, or they figured it out. And I think trying to make things, just saying to people, share this with your friends.
Right.
I think that's something that you have to ask because they're not thinking about it. And so I have to try to remember too to say, feel free to share this with a friend, someone who might like to learn more about decluttering. And that way they might, just because you planted that seed.
Definitely. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's so we got a lot of great tips for Shareflo users, a lot of awesome stuff for your community as well. That really
Answers a lot of our
yeah,
questions.
that answers a lot of our questions. Definitely. Is there anything you'd want to plug? I know you said you're working on your book that's coming out next summer. Is there anything else that you're working on in the future?
Well, just promoting the books that I already have out there. I think that my favorite book really is the one on how to turn clutter into cash.
Yeah, definitely.
Using apps from your smartphone apps like OfferUp, and we've done that even on the road where I'll just be, say, in Mesa, Arizona, and I have something I need to get rid of, and I know that it still has value, and I'd like to see if I can get $20 for it. And I just take a photo and put it on OfferUp, and somebody within a 5-mile radius who's also using that app sees it and contacts me, and next thing you know, we make the deal, and it's gone.
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely.
So, but anyway, so that's my favorite book, How to Declutter and Make Money Now. And Clear the Clutter, Find Happiness is my most recent book, and a lot of people are finding that to be very helpful, and it's also a good gift to give to someone.
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
Cool.
Finding closure where certain things can be difficult, but once you do really free up your space, it frees up your mind.
Especially something sentimental too.
Yeah.
Like if someone has sentimental feelings, or even not just like hoarders, but if someone has sentimental value with items, but really learning how to let go of that, I think that's key.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, of course, you can keep that memorabilia too, and just
True.
I just recommend keeping a box or some container, and if it gets full, well then you have to maybe sort through and see if something isn't quite as important to you now as it was last time you looked.
Right.
Absolutely.
Definitely. That's a good key tip to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. We'll definitely have to get in contact with them because they sound like a great resource, and obviously talking to you, like phenomenal story.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a huge following. They're on Twitter. They seem to really they're younger, well, younger than me, but they gave up 6-figure corporate jobs to go out and spread this message, and they've written books already. There was a movie called The Minimalist that they put out, and again premiered it in all these different cities. So there's a lot going on there. And a couple other names. Joshua Becker just wrote a book called The More of Less, and he also has a huge following on social media. Nice guy. He's in Arizona. And Courtney Carver, who's in California, she designed the capsule wardrobe. So she convinces people to downsize to 33 items of clothing, and then they all mix and match.
Right.
So anyway, those to me are those are my favorite people to follow and watch and see what they're doing.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you sharing those with us because, outside of Shareflo, I definitely have always had interest of home organization and design and stuff like that. So I definitely appreciate you sharing those. But as far as the interview goes, I mean, that you did definitely answer all of our questions.
That's all we had for you. So you did a great job.
All right, well, thanks. Let me know when, you have something to show, and I'll definitely share it with my readers. They'll be
Yeah,
interested.
absolutely. I just have to edit this, and then I'll share it with you, and we're good to go.
Yep, and
Okay.
I'll also be working on transcribing it, so it is more of a blog post, so you can have that as well.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much, Donna.
Yeah, keep in touch.
Will do.
We will.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.